Hello, and welcome to the Wright Times. I'm your host, Erin Hurt. On today's show, we are spotlighting an exciting cultural exhibit, which has just started here at the Wright. Then, we take you on a guided tour, and last but not least, you'll see how you can become a part of history. You won't want to miss a single moment of this exciting edition of the Wright Times.
Welcome to the Wright Times, spotlighting the activities in the world's premier facility dedicated to the history of the African American people and their experience. And now here is your host of the Wright Times, Erin Hurt.
The Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History features exhibits from all around the world. Our latest exhibit is entitled A Theater of Color, Costume Design for the Black Theater by Myrna Colley Lee. Curated by Shirley Reef Howarth, A Theater of Color Costume Design for the Black Theater by Myrna Colley Lee consists of more than 100 original costume designs and over 80 production photos, including full-scale production images from several productions portraying the Black experience from before World War II through the Pulitzer Prize-winning works of August Wilson. When we're back, we'll hear from Museum President Juanita Moore. Don't go anywhere because you're in the right place and this is the right time.
Welcome to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. Located in Midtown Detroit, the Wright Museum is the world's largest institution of its kind and is alive with activities for the entire family. Experience the one-of-a-kind exhibition And Still We Rise, where you'll travel from prehistoric Africa to modern-day Detroit. The Inspiring Minds Science and Technology exhibit features a fully interactive video wall and hands-on children's activities and play areas. Be awed by the 65-foot-high glass dome of the Ford Freedom Rotunda. Be entertained by spectacular performances in the General Motors Theater. Be energized by dance, health, and fitness programs. The museum hosts national exhibitions and works by prominent contemporary artists. So is it art, history, or culture? It's all of the above. The Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, the Wright Museum.
Costume design is one of the most important tools that help the playwright bring his artistic vision to life. Museum President Juanita Moore.
Hello, my name is Juanita Moore, and I want to welcome you to A Theater of Color, a wonderful exhibition right here at the Charles H. Wright Museum, known as The Wright. So, this is an amazing exhibition that looks at costume and design in theater. We have Myrna Colley Lee, who is the longtime costume designer for Black theater throughout this country. She's worked with everyone in all different kinds of plays. So you get a variety of stories in this exhibition, but you see some of the most beautiful, colorful costumes that you've ever seen. And you get to relive these theater shows and remember your very favorite quote or your very favorite character. And I tell you, you go through here and start to become some of these characters. But more importantly, you want the costumes and you want to see the plays again. They are fabulous. So come and visit us at the Charles H. Wright Museum and see A Theater of Color. We also invite you to come to our gala on October 11th here right at the museum. And it's called The Ball. Come and join us at the gala and wear your best theater costume or just your best costume. Come dress beautiful and have fun. And for those of you who don't remember, this is our third gala. We first did it around the Dance Theater of Harlem, then for the Love of Literacy, and last year we danced through the night with Brazil. So come on down, have fun, and enjoy. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the exhibit and at the Wright.
The costume designer's creation of the costume is like a lens that focuses on the essential message of the play and reveals the basic personalities and motivations of the characters. Costume design for the Black theater gives a look inside the world of theater costume design, and specifically the world of Black theater during the second half of the 20th century, including plays, playwrights, and repertory companies that produced an extraordinary series of works that have become landmarks in the history of Black culture, of American literature, and of the American theater. Collie played a pivotal role in creating costumes during a period in American history when Black theater was struggling to stay alive and relevant. This exhibit enables each of us to see ideological growth and the creative tensions of the different influences that make up Black theater. The exhibit runs July 20, 2014 through January 4, 2015. When we're back, we'll talk to our facility manager on what's up and coming. I'm Sharon Hurt, and you're watching The Wright Times.
These 4 local church leaders have been given a gift. He received a liver in 2012, a kidney in 2010, 2 lungs in 1997, a kidney in 2013. They are organ transplant recipients.
The quality of life that I had before the transplant, it was so diminished. I didn't know where I was going to live.
If I wanted to live at a high quality of life, my best case scenario was getting a transplant.
And my life goes on, but so does my donor. My donor lives on in me, and they live on beyond, and so that's the gift of life.
I feel that I'm on a mission now that I'm the recipient to encourage and inspire everyone I meet to become a donor and give the gift of life.
Be an angel for life. To sign up or hear the extended discussion, go to giftoflifemichigan.org.
The Wright is one of Detroit's premier destinations for parties, banquets, meetings, conferences, concerts, weddings, receptions, and a host of other special occasions. Recently, I spoke with Drake Pfeiffer, facilities manager for The Wright, who took me on a tour of some of the great spaces inside The Wright. Drake, this is such a beautiful space. So what takes place in this room?
We host plays, movie screenings, symposiums, concert productions, and we even have hosted weddings here.
Really? So what's the maximum capacity in here?
We have 313 seats in this space, and we can probably fit another 50 people along our ledges in the rear. So we're looking at about 370.
Wow. So this space is called the GM Theater. Why the GM Theater?
Well, we are in Detroit, and we are in the home of General Motors. General Motors is one of our largest sponsors, and they have underwritten this theater, and they've been doing so for the last 10 plus years, and they've kept this theater state of the art. So we've been very happy to have the name GM Theater emblazoned on the front of this theater.
Awesome. So as I look around, I actually noticed there's gold plaques on some of the tape on some of the chairs. So what does that represent?
Well, any donor who is interested can have the same thing for a fee. I think we charge a nominal fee for individuals or families to memorialize their living or passed on loved ones with a seat here in the General Motors Theater. It goes to our capital campaign projects here at the museum, and certainly we can provide more information on that. If someone is interested in doing that, they can simply call me or anyone in our department, and we will provide them with that information.
So we met in the Rotunda, and it's such a beautiful location. What's the story behind it?
Well, it's no accident that the Rotunda is as regal of a space in the museum as it is. The lead architect on the building, Harold Varner, wanted to make certain that this museum, once completed, was on par with any museum around the world. And I think you would agree with me that he
Definitely
did a fine job of achieving that. The Rotunda is, the granddaddy of spaces within this museum.
So why is the center called the Ring of Genealogy?
The Ring of Genealogy is one of our most revered pieces in the museum, and it was designed and installed by local artist Hubert Massey. And the ring actually has lots of symbolism to it, but one of the things that I think people think about when they see the Ring of Genealogy is how many notable African Americans that it represents, that it shows that have gone on to the other side, if you will. And it's really a beautiful thing to say, and that ring is a story in and of itself, and just like this museum, it is reflective of living history as well as the history that has gone by.
Awesome. So is the rotunda available for rental space?
The rotunda is actually available as a rental space. It is, again, one of our most remarkable spaces. We've held symposiums there, we've held weddings, dances, birthday parties, you name it. We have held some of the most stellar events in there for some of the most notable individuals, as well as just everyday people here in the city of Detroit and the metropolitan area, and as well as for national figures. So we are open to doing any type of, if you can imagine it, we try to achieve it. And the rotunda is certainly one of our most popular spaces to do that in.
I can only imagine. So Drake, in the multi-purpose room, I noticed that there's various pieces of art displayed on the wall. How do you decide what goes in that room?
Well, the multi-purpose room is also known as our Contemporary Artist Gallery. And that is a gallery where we feature emerging artists, and we rotate the art out just about every 3 to 4 months. And that's under the auspices of our museum curator. And so whatever you see the room as today, 3 months from now, it'll look completely different with the accompanying artwork that is on the wall.
Great. So what other events take place in that room?
Again, we hold a number of events. We hold plenary sessions for corporations, wedding receptions, movie screenings, birthday parties, corporate meetings, and the like. So we are, again, a full-service venue. You know, we are a museum first and foremost, but we have a number of different offerings, and this is probably our most used space in the museum.
Okay, so you're talking about all these events that take place and all the meeting space. So what is the procedure for securing a space in the museum?
Well, my department handles that, and so certainly we field all of the calls that come in for events. So they call, if interested parties are interested in renting space in the museum, they can call the main number. They can ask for me or anyone in the facility rental department, and we will be glad to take their call.
That's great. So what are some of the technologies used in the classrooms here at the museum?
Well, the classrooms, also known as our multimedia rooms, allow for distance learning. We have a distance learning camera installed in the classroom, so if you are a school or a corporation that wants to present a professor or a consultant from afar, you can certainly do that. We have screens in there that will accommodate presentations, and we have a multimedia podium that will accommodate just about any kind of technology, audio or visual, that exists today. So, you know, that's probably our most technologically advanced space in the museum. We can accommodate up to 150 people classroom style in that space. And
how many classrooms are there?
There's one big classroom,
okay,
one large classroom, and then we have partitions that draw. Once drawn, it creates two additional classrooms. So in all 3 classrooms, okay, in one space.
So I hear you talking about all the different meeting spaces. What meeting space is available here at the museum?
Well, we have a number of meeting spaces. We've named several of them, but the multimedia rooms are available. The Contemporary Artist Gallery is available. We have the Lewis Latimer Cafe. We also have our boardroom, which is also available for meetings. The space that we're in right now, the General Motors Theater, if necessary, if required, or if desired by the client, we can utilize our stage as a meeting space, depending on how non-orthodox the request is.
Awesome. Glad to know that you're very accommodating. Now, the Latimer Cafe was absolutely gorgeous. The outside view was spectacular. Is that available for events as well?
Absolutely. We get a lot of mileage out of our Latimer Cafe during the spring and summer months, obviously, when there's warm weather, and it gets a lot of mileage, a lot of use from event planners who are producing birthday parties as well as wedding receptions. Even the weddings that we've had out there have been notable because it is, as you stated, very beautiful. The array of flowers that we have in our the floral presentation is spectacular, and we aim to make it more spectacular every year. So you can't go wrong by choosing the Latimer space if you're looking for a more condensed and intimate presentation for your events.
Okay, so for events, what about catering and linens? Does that come with the rental?
We do have preferred caterers that our clients are required to utilize, and outside of that, we have some wonderful preferred vendors, including linen vendors, floral vendors, photographers, DJs, artists. We pride ourselves on being able to refer our clients to what we feel are the best of the best, and we certainly look forward to doing that moving forward for anyone who's watching this segment.
Okay. Well, Drake, I want to say thank you so much for touring us through all the various meeting spaces that we have here right at the Wright Museum. There's so much to be used, and so I really do hope that our viewers take heed to what you have said and make sure they check out one of their next events. Make sure they look at the Wright Museum.
Thank you, Sharon. It's been a pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed that great tour. For your next event, please contact any of the numbers on your screen. 313-494-5831, 313-494-5893, or 313-494-5801. And now we'll hear about the visions of our own Dr. Charles H. Wright from Jonathan Jones.
A question that we often get here at the museum is, why would Dr. Wright found this museum in the first place? Well, you got to take that all the way back to his travels back in 1965. Now, Dr. Wright was a doctor that did many travels all around the world. He did lecture series. He helped a lot of residents. He was even doing a program that was similar to Doctors Without Borders. Now, in that, he was in the continent of Africa, and he was learning from those tribal men what's going on. How do you transmit your stories? And they were doing it through the telling of their own history. And he was realizing that that was empowering the people there on the continent. But we didn't have anything like that here happening for us in the United States. So when he would go to his travels, he would bring back artifacts from those travels and put them in his offices on West Grand Boulevard. And people began to love it. It began to connect to them in a way that hadn't been done before. Now, of course, we gotta grow. And what happens when you grow? We need space. Now, he loaded everything up into a mobile unit. He began to tour that around, ran out of space. He loaded that thing up, put it into a permanent location just a couple of streets over from where we are right now. Still not getting the job done. But in 1997, they opened up this museum. And when this museum opened, it of course became the largest museum of African American history in the world. And yes, we still hold that title today. Ask a friend. tell them to come by and visit, because we got programs happening for you today.
And now we're here from someone whose life has been touched by Dr. Charles H. Wright, Yolanda Jacks.
One of the things that I love about Dr. Wright's life and story is that he was not a doctor of history, but a doctor of obstetrics and gynecology. And I'm connected to that because he delivered over 7,000 babies, among whom are my uncle, my aunts, and my stepdad. One of the things that I learned as a little girl when I came to Dr. Wright's museum when it was over at the Frederick location was that Dr. Wright would talk to young people and encourage them to learn about their history. And he would even quiz my father when he would come with my grandmother to the different appointments and ask him what did he remember from the last appointment. And these are the things that were important to Dr. Wright, getting young people to understand what their history was, not 20 years after they've been living or after they've gone to school and moved on beyond college and high school and so forth, but a way to get them to understand their history as they grew up, so that it was not something that was alien to them, but a part of their everyday thinking, a part of who they were. The same way that those people who were in the continent took their history as a part of their strength, a part of their power, and that began to empower young people here in America, particularly in Detroit. And so when we think about Dr. Wright's legacy, when we think about how important the founding of this museum was, it's a way to connect not only the continent and the strides and the work that people have done here in America, but to bring it right down to young people who are in school every day, thinking about the problems that they have and how not only are they going to survive, but the fact that there are people who were before them, not yesterday, but centuries ago, who survived this and even worse. So now I'm empowered. Now I feel I'm able to accomplish anything because Dr. Wright founded this museum, because Ida B. Wells wrote and told our story, because Harriet Tubman found a way to get herself and over 300 more people free, a way to get themselves out of a situation into a better situation. And for me, more importantly, that's the most important thing that Dr. Wright did, empowering young people and minds. Thank you.
And now we're here about Dr. Wright's legacy from Jatu Gray.
You have just heard all the many wonderful things that Dr. Charles H. Wright has done for not only African Americans, but for all of mankind. Remember, he delivered 7,000 screaming babies. And some of those babies grew up and they volunteer here at special events at the museum.
Here's the upcoming calendar of events at the Wright. On Saturday, September 20th, 2014 at 5 p.m., the Friends Committee will be presenting the 9th Biennial Awards for Excellence Legacy Dinner. Special guests will be Dr. Henry Louis Gates. He will be presenting on Finding Our Root. This is an event that you don't want to miss. Make sure you're there, Saturday, September 20, 2014 at 5 p.m. Tickets, $60 per person. There are galas and there is the gala. This is an event of the year. Make sure you're at the Ball, the Wright Gala here at the Wright Museum, Saturday, October 11th, 2014. For a detailed listing of all of the events here at the Wright Museum, be sure to check our website at www.thewright.org and follow us on all of our social media.
Welcome to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. My name is Kari Walker, and I will be a tour guide for today. Before we begin, let's find out what you already know about Dr. Charles H. Wright and this museum. Who was Dr. Charles H. Wright?
Charles H. Wright was a doctor.
What kind of doctor?
Charles H. Wright was an obstetrician.
What is an obstetrician?
An obstetrician is a doctor who delivers babies.
Dr. Wright delivered over 7,000 babies in his lifetime.
That's a lot of babies. What else do you know about Dr. Charles H. Wright?
Charles H. Wright was the founder of the Museum of African American History. Our school is named after Dr. Charles H. Wright. My teacher said that Dr. Wright started the first museum in spacesuit, and now it's the largest African American museum in the world. I'm impressed. You guys really know your history. Still I Rise is the main exhibit in the museum. My family visits the museum at least once a year to see the new exhibits. They are always changing. On April 20th, 2006, Mrs. Rosa Parks' funeral service was held here. Important people from across the world came to pay their last respects to the mother of the Civil Rights Movement.
Although Dr. Wright isn't with us anymore, his wife comes to our school to pay us a visit.
That's really special. We could talk about Dr. Charles H. Wright in this museum for hours.
The important thing about Dr. Charles H. Wright is that he is the founder of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. Dr. Wright was an OBGYN. He delivered over 7,000 babies. He traveled throughout the world offering his assistance in the medical field. He has written and published several writings on the history of African Americans regarding healthcare. Our school is named after him. But the important thing about Dr. Charles H. Wright is that he is the founder of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History.
Welcome to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. Located in Midtown Detroit, the Wright Museum is the world's largest institution of its kind and is alive with activities for the entire family. Experience the one-of-a-kind exhibition, And Still We Rise, where you'll travel from prehistoric Africa to modern-day Detroit. The Inspiring Minds Science and Technology exhibit features a fully interactive video wall and hands-on children's activities and play areas. Be awed by the 65-foot-high glass dome of the Ford Freedom Rotunda. Be entertained by spectacular performances in the General Motors Theater. Be energized by dance, health, and fitness programs. The museum hosts national exhibitions and works by prominent contemporary artists. So is it art, history, or culture? It's all of the above. The Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, the Wright Museum.
Well, as usual, time flies when we're having fun. But be sure to join us next week at this same time for more great things from the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. For all of us here at the Wright, I'm Sharon, reminding you that no matter where you've come from or where you're going, right here is the place and right now is the right time.